Peace, Islam. Welcome to Nwar Astrology. Today, I'm going to be going through the weekly astrological energies for the week of November the 27th through December the 3rd of 2022. Currently, Mars is retrograde in Gemini. As a reminder, or for those who are unaware, Mars went retrograde on October 30th, and it's stationing there, and it will be retrograde until January. Mars is also going to be in the sign of Gemini until the end of March. So this is really a time for us to do a lot of the R's that go with the retrograde energy. So usually that means, we can revisit, right? Reflect, revise, rethink, redo, respect. That's one I never really hear people say, but right, using retrogrades is the time to really go back and think about the things that we value and respect. So the interesting thing about this energy is that Mars is our energy of will. It's our energy of self-preservation, also our energy of self-expression, action-oriented sign, while Gemini is the thinker of the zodiac. It deals with all of our forms of communication, be they psychic communication, thought-wise, in the way that we think, as well as our speech. So Mercury deals with a lot. It can, even in this modern time, deal with things such as social media, applications, or communications on the phone, electronic communication. So when we're in this energy, we can have this extra drive, because when the planets are in retrograde, the energy is a bit more intense. It can be felt more, especially if the aspects of where it's stationing hit on any aspects of your own birth chart. That's definitely something to look out for. You're going to feel it for sure. Or if you're born with Mars in retrograde, for instance, as well, you're going to definitely feel this energy a lot. So this is giving us, with the retrograde energy pumping up all of that Martian martial will energy, we're going to feel like going forth expediently with our speech, with our thoughts. But now is not the time to do that, because actually this retrograde is at an opposition to the Sun, Jupiter. This retrograde is at an opposition to the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, controlling our life's purpose, our soul, our inner illumination, what we think and communicate, as well as what we value and how we adorn ourselves. So, or even with the ways in which we can adorn our speech. It might be poetic, or maybe it might be harsh, that sort of thing. So while you may have the urge and the feeling to really communicate a lot, this is definitely a time that you want to rethink and replan, rework some of your goals and things that you're working on, some of the things that you might want to communicate before you rush out and speak about them or communicate them to others, because they may or may not be received if you didn't take the time to really rethink and rework all of your plans. Gemini is, it's the thinker, but it's also, the architect or the scientist. So this is someone that's got a lot of plans and schematics. Gemini's energy is really good for going through charts and that sort of thing. So if there's anything that you've been working on, anything that you've been constructing, now is also a really good time to go back and look over those blueprints again, look over your plans once again, and make sure there aren't any nuts and bolts missing from something that might be vital to make sure that your plans actually succeed in the long run. So Mars is going to be retrograde and at this opposition to the Sun, Mercury, and Venus until about mid-December. That opposition is going to be taking place. So definitely until at least mid-December, end of December, leading in towards, January, beginning of January, you are going to want to hold off on some of those big plans that you have. It doesn't mean don't work on them. Obviously, continue to work on them, continue to think about them. But now is not the time to go forth just yet. A couple more weeks. And then it's all steam engines ahead, right? So Mercury is also going to be at a sextile to Saturn, which is great for this energy. This gives us the energy of lively and like methodical thought. So for instance, I wrote down my astrology notes. I was doing my homework a little bit earlier today, mapping out everything for the week that I wanted to talk about, the aspects I felt were important. And I kind of just found myself reading on and on from one subject into the next and contemplating and sitting and thinking. And I started about 4 or 5 hours ago, and the time just passed me by because I've just been thinking and ruminating over all of these new interesting aspects of astrology that I'm continuing to revisit, and also some new things that I'm learning as well. Another interesting thing about this Saturn sextile to Mercury energy is it's the energy of I said what I said. I meant what I said. So this is also important because Saturn is something that is time tested, right? So right now, when you deal with these Saturn issues, it's things that are going to be cemented in a way in concrete for some time. So whatever you do, the ways in which you speak, that is what is going to be what you're reliably known for. So if you're speaking, truth, if you're speaking from your soul, then the way you say it, what you say is going to be in such a way that it's going to connect and hit people, and they're going to be like, all right, they really mean it. That's really how they feel. Now, if you're nervous or anxious, or kind of going around in your thoughts, or you're a person that might be a little deceptive and this sort of thing, and manipulative in your speech, this is definitely a time to watch out for, because it's Saturn and it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And this is what you're going to be reliably known for, being a liar and being a manipulative person. So definitely be careful with your speech at this time. Think things through. Also with that Martian energy, opposing Mercury and Venus and the Sun, there's an energy that we might be harsh with our words as well. So, and it might be coming from a truthful place and a place of passion as well. But maybe we'll say something or communicate something in a way that's a little bit more harsh than we meant to. And that's what's going to stick with people in the long run. Mars is also in conjunction to Uranus, and it's going to be going from that in conjunction into a square this week. So this is a difficult energy. Squares deal with active conflict. The in conjunction is about a kind of difficult area that you need to integrate the two energies to kind of make it work. Whereas the square is the two energies are actively meeting, like a car coming this way and a car coming this way. Boom, square, perpendicular, boom, that's a crash. So that's the energy of a square, something that you use active conflict, something that you actively have to engage in with to get past. And once again, Mercury is in Sagittarius, dealing with journeys of the mind, dealing with higher thought, knowledge, gurus, philosophy. And Uranus is currently in Taurus, and Taurus deals with our value, our sense of self-worth, how we adorn ourselves, our material possessions, and that sort of thing. So these are the two areas that you might be finding some conflict with your values and your ability for thought, your ability for divine thought, your ability to get into higher level knowledge. And you might, we're on this journey, right? This learning journey through this Sagittarius season. So this week does have some aspects that, might put some, I don't want to say blockades, but obstacles in the roadway. Some things that you might have to slow down for and maneuver around while we're continuing to go in the same direction, of course, not taking any turns into any new side journeys at the moment, but just making sure that we not crashing into any of our own inner conflicts. The sun is going to be trine to Chiron, so this is opening up illumination on the areas of our life in which we need healing. Definitely look at where Chiron is in your chart and see where it is. I believe Chiron is in, let's see what house Chiron was in. Where are you, Chiron? Chiron is in Aries. Okay, so that's dealing with the self. So this is dealing with our worldview. Also the mask, our ego, the mask that we wear in the world. Definitely our self-expression. This is our self energy and what drives us and that sort of thing. So there might be some inner wounds, some childhood wounds, some wounds dealing with our values, our possessions, our thoughts in the social world, and our standing in the social world, and as well as dealing with higher knowledge. We might have some issues to deal with around these areas, and that could also potentially be why we're dealing with some of the energy that's calling us to slow down a bit as we travel through the week and really reflect on our thoughts. The moon is making its way into Aquarius on the 27th, and throughout the week it's gonna go through Pisces and then make its way into Aries. The moon in Aquarius deals with the social, it deals with the hive mind, it deals with groups and trends and everything that's the collective energy. In Pisces, this is our house, our 12th house. This is the house of karma. It can deal with the unconscious, the personal unconscious, whereas Aquarius deals with the collective unconscious. And it's the essence of the kind of the divine womb of rebirth. It's the end of the cycle of the zodiac before you start over again in Aries. So Pisces does have a similar energy in some ways to Scorpio in terms of transformance, but whereas Scorpio is just transformation through who you are and who you are becoming, Pisces is almost like a complete ego death and rebirth energy. Pisces can also deal, especially dealing with the moon, it can deal with intoxication, it can deal with overindulgence, it can deal with wanting, escapism, dealing with our vision, it can deal with foggy intuition and foggy thoughts as well, and emotions as well, like not things, you kind of feel it but it's not really clear, you're kind of in this murky energy. And so then from the moon in Pisces, we're going into the moon in Aries, again dealing with ourself and our worldview. So we're going through this emotional and physical meditation on how we exist in the hive, in the group, and into our own renewal, our own transformation and rebirth, and our own karma that is coming from that, and then redirecting at the end emotionally into how we're feeling about ourselves and our new worldviews that we're forming as the moon is coming into Aries. We also have Mars trine to Saturn. So this is an interesting energy. I like it for this week. It's all about endurance and discipline. So Mars is in Pisces and Saturn is in Aquarius. Excuse me, Mars is in Gemini. I don't know why I said Pisces. Mars is in Gemini and Saturn is in Aquarius. Again, that Gemini energy, which is related to the Mercury energy. So although Mercury is in Sagittarius, Mars is in Gemini. So Mercury, an air sign, is currently in the house of a fire sign. And Mars, a fire sign, is currently in the house of an air sign. And so fire and air definitely, they go together. The air helps the fire grow and become more luminous, become stronger. Even air is an aspect of fire as it evaporates back into the water vapors, that we all live in, that we think is oxygen, is air. It's all just different layers of water from the sea up into space. Just the density changes. So air and fire is a good energy, but it's also an energy that you don't want to have too much air blowing, because if you blow too much air on a fire, you're either going to blow it out or it's going to kindle, and it's going to take that fire and it's going to bring it to another place and start something else on fire. And so with this Mars and Gemini energy, we don't want to go through having too many fires burning and not being able to contain them. So this is a really good energy this week for endurance and self-discipline. Definitely don't rush. And any delays or any things that Saturn might put in your way, any obstacles, if you get through them and you get through them with tact, and you're deliberate about it, you'll find that in the long run that delay was actually for your benefit, and there's gonna be definitely some good things brought into you for seeing things through. Very fortuitous energy if you can see it through. Mars is going to be at a square to Uranus. I'm saying all the wrong planets today. Mars is going to be at a square to Neptune. So maybe this is that Mars Gemini energy for me. I don't know. I'm having a little bit of trouble focusing today. Mars is coming into a square with Neptune. And it's funny because this is not until later on in the week, but maybe it's hitting me earlier. This is all about difficulty focusing. So this is the idea of, the Neptunian energy it's water. It can take over here and kind of put out your inner fire, especially if you're trying to light more fires in a watery energy. It's just not going to happen. So this is an energy of being with the flow and trying to stay in flow as much as you can and letting those ideas come to you. This is a good self-care day. I believe it's going to be December 1st or 2nd. So definitely, take the time to relax, listen to some music, let the inspiration come to you. If you can, go put your feet in a body of water and just let the grounding energies of the water, help you focus. And lastly, we also have Jupiter coming into a conjunction with Neptune. So yeah, this is going to amplify that energy. So definitely take some time for self-care today. Here's our last aspect of the week. We have Saturn squared to Uranus. So Saturn again is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus. Aquarius is that Uranian energy. So you're definitely going to be feeling a lot of the kind of electrical, explosive energy towards the end of the week. But this is going to be colored in the tasks that Saturn brings to you and the challenges that Saturn brings to you to get through. This is definitely going to be some explosive electrical energy dealing with where we find ourselves between the old, the time-tested, and the new upstarting energy. So this is really a integration week, as I see it. Take the time not to overthink, even though you will be thinking a lot. Take your breaks, rebalance all of that mental energy with some physical energy. Definitely eat well so that you are mentally and physically ready for the energies that are going to be coming in towards you, and it's not overwhelming or chaotic in any way. Okay, so I had a lot of thoughts running through my mind. So maybe this is me delivering this message can be a great example of kind of how this incoming energy is going to be affecting people. You got a lot on your mind, you got a lot to communicate, but you're almost at this loss for words or not getting the words right correctly because you need more time to kind of integrate the knowledge, integrate your thoughts maybe before you begin to communicate. Obviously, I'm trying to get this video out for the week ahead, and I have a bunch of other videos to record, so this is not really something I can wait to do. But here's me giving you this message as an example. I hope that this information came across clear and people have a good idea of what to look forward to in the week coming ahead. All right. Enjoy. Peace.